Jeffries. James. McCarthy. Johnny Paul. Jeffries. Jeffries. Johnson of Georgia.
All right, you guys. Well, this is going on in the background. Question: how many of you guys actually watch C-SPAN and see what they're actually putting into the public? Go ahead and raise your hand, or just put a yes or say aye, as they say in the House. Put that in the chat for me. How many of you guys actually participate and watch these things? I'm going to let some people continuously come in. I see that maybe some of you are having Wi-Fi difficulties, so it's dropping you out and then you're coming back in. I hope that that is the case and you're not opening a second account for someone else. You don't want to do anything like that here in this platform. But I think it's important that we keep an eye out for what they show on C-SPAN. What you got to know is, you know, they try to present it to you that we have different representatives of every single state, which is true, right? But you got to know that when they put out these laws that they vote on to be approved by the president, and of course, the president is not a king or queen like we have in other countries. You have presidents over businesses such as corporations. When they put out these laws and it gets approved, guess who is telling them to put out these laws? It's not coming from us. If we were in our proper status, our proper form of having our express trust recorded in the many different county seats, then we would be the ones giving the information to a specific group of people. And that specific group of people gives the information to what you see here on C-SPAN. They are listening to what's called the plebiscite, the plebeians. All you got to do is Google your city or your county and type in, let's say we do one right now, right? If I go to Google right now, let me zoom in. If I type in Los Angeles, it's called a plebiscite. It's going to take you to the word that they're using to hide that, which is referendum. And when you click on your city's referendum, that's going to tell you all of the plebeians who are down in the county who make things happen. You can actually vote to get yourself inside of the referendum and be someone who adds to creating laws. If you don't like the DMV or what they're doing, you need to get inside the referendum. Once you're inside the referendum, you can then make things happen as a republic. They are called the micro republic, and they give this information, what they agree upon, to the representatives, and they present it, which it's already been voted on. They're just going to give it to the people to make it seem like that they have a choice. It's very sad, very, very sad. If I were to Google the word, what is the difference between a plebiscite and referendum? It's a voting process. That's all it is. It is a voting process, right? This article here, I'm going to share this in the description and Patreon for you guys so you can read about the plebiscite and the referendum. Very key information. When your trust is recorded in the proper courts and county seats, you then become what's called the number of representatives. That's the trick that they're not telling you. You become one of the representatives who have the power to vote. And so, like I've shown in the course, if you have done what's called the passport process, you have a driver's license, and you did it the normal way, you have just removed yourself from being considered a representative of the state. So that way you have the proper opportunity for your vote to be counted, right? So we've got a couple of questions that we're going to get into from you guys, but I like as always, I receive questions on a normal day-to-day basis, as well as my team members. So I'm going to go ahead and read a couple of those questions, answer them. I think most of you have the same concerns and questions as well. So I think it will be highly beneficial for all of you. And then we would jump right into it and start taking your immediate questions, okay? So first question, here we go. Typically, how soon after signing the private client agreement to begin the 0% process can a person submit the necessary paperwork to their employer in order for taxes to stop being withheld from their paychecks? If you guys want to chime in, go ahead and give your opinions directly inside of the chat so everybody can see it. But my answer is this. This is a very good question. Very, very, very good question. What do you mean music? You guys hear music in the background, or is that coming from somebody else? Cynthia Muse, you said there's music. Do you hear any music? No, there's no music. All right, I thought so. So my answer to that question is this. And this applies to everybody, not just private clients, okay? My answer is immediately. Knowing that you have begun the process of enrolling your Social Security number as a domestic estate, followed by converting it to a foreign estate. Now that you know that that process is going to begin as a private client or as a student within Patreon courses, immediately go ahead and update your information with your employer, okay? What matters is that you are ready to file your tax forms at the end of the year if you need to file. And what does that mean when it comes to, obtaining the 0% tax liability? Well, let's say you seek to obtain a federal government financing loan or whatever, a federal government security, such as a mortgage, or you want to obtain a high-end automobile loan using your Social Security information, and you don't have bank statements to prove income. Then you may file your 1040 the normal way, right? Which the IRS will state you owe close to the amount that you kept all year long. And then you're going to file a 1041 tax form for estates and trust using your estate EIN, and a separate 1041 using your 9-8 EIN, because the 9-8 is going to claim the estate, and the estate is, and then essentially the 9-8 is going to also claim the Social Security income, backed by a real claim of lien, right? Now, this is going to wash out the alleged debt that the IRS said that you owed, okay? Other options are obtaining a loan, would be seeking a private lender, whereas they look at your credit report only to determine an interest rate, but they will not report the loan to the 3 credit reporting agencies, okay? Let's go to the second question. I am currently employed, but once I sign the private client agreement to start the 0% process, will I no longer be eligible to receive unemployment benefits if I lose my job? My executive assistant said that TJ is logged in twice. That's why we see that on my end. Okay, cool. TJ, if you can log in once, that would be great. Once would be good. So if you lost your job, will you still be eligible for unemployment insurance upon becoming a private client? Okay, I understand what you're asking. Now listen, again, this applies to everybody and not just private clients. Any full-time employed individual, he should not receive any unemployment benefits. If you are a full-time worker, there's no need for you to receive unemployment benefits, nor should a part-time employed individual receive full-time unemployment benefits. Okay, that is fraud. However, if you are a part-time employed individual, you may qualify for part-time unemployment benefits at the same time to cover the difference of a loss of income if you have proven you lost your full-time source of income prior to your application. All right, so make sure you understand that. You do not want to continue to keep unemployment benefits if you're working. And like we said in question number 1, when you're working and we're doing this process for you, or you're doing it for yourself, you now know how to do the taxes and what to expect at the end of the year. You said, do you use your 98 number on your estate or your estate number on a W-9? No, you do not use the 98 number on a W-9. Sometimes, like let's say you're submitting your trust information to the county for taxes, then yes, you would use the 98 number for that. But you're never going to use it for an employer. And you're never going to give up your estate number for an employer as well. You can only give them a W-4 with your social. The only time you can give your estate number to an employer is if the employer hires you as an individual contractor. Then you give a W-9, you put the name of the estate, and then you go ahead and give them the EIN number. However, you're not going to open up a bank account with the EIN number for the estate. So I recommend you do a DBA. So you have the name of your estate doing business as, I don't know, whatever you want, right? And then that way you can deposit monies in both of those names to your trust enterprise. All right. Frenchie asks, when you receive collections letter from your state taxes, do you do the same letter process for the IRS? Yes, you do. Same process. In fact, use your IRS determination letter to send to the state, showing them that your entity doesn't pay taxes federally and it will not pay taxes on the state level as well. Question 3, can I transfer my bank accounts and stock trading accounts, such as TD Ameritrade accounts, directly into the Express Trust, or will I have to close my accounts and put my funds into a life insurance policy, which will be put in the Express Trust? Moving forward, you will operate normal day-to-day banking through your trust enterprise account with yourself as the trustee, having full access to the account. Okay. Let me go ahead and let these members in. All right, so you're going to have full access to your trust enterprise account as the trustee. Now, all of your stock or trading accounts, it should be updated, removing your name, removing your LLC, removing your corporation, the SSN and EIN to your trust enterprise EIN, using a W-9, of course. Now, we do recommend not having all of your money connected to the FDIC or the NCUA, to diversify using a whole life insurance account, which is going to give you a greater dividend and you'll have more control. It protects your money from what they're about to do with this, what they call CBDC. If you look up here, you go to money and payments, the US dollar in the age of digital transformation. This came out in January 2022. I'll leave a link inside of the description for this recording in Patreon so you can read through it. It's about 40 pages, but they're telling you their plan. It's coming, all right? Also, you want to look at Executive Order 14067, right? 14067, I'll put that in the description as well. If you go down to, let's go to section, I think it was the last section, section 9. they give a description as to what they want to do. Here it is, CBDC. It stands for Central Bank Digital Currency. So we know that the Federal Reserve sends out Federal Reserve notes. It's a double-sided, a dual nature instrument, public and private. Now they're going to start getting rid of that, where everything is going to be considered under digital wallets, digital money as a monetary value. And they want to use that and consider it to be sovereign money. All right, so read this article when you get a chance. Go through it. Put your money, if you have cash, transfer that over to life insurance policies. Just have enough inside of your trust enterprise account to handle your day-to-day bankings and your purchases that you need, but try to keep majority of that in a safe place that you have access to, and convert that over into real assets, silver and gold that will never change, right? Those are precious metals of the earth. Convert it over. Next question here, and then we'll get to your guys' questions. It says here, my wife is a retired military, so how would she transfer her VA benefits and retirement income into her express trust without her benefits being affected? Now, you guys know I talk about this quite often. Title 18, USC 664. It prevents anyone, including the government, from theft of the equity paid into, whether those benefits are in a pension plan or some type of employee pension plan or welfare, it doesn't matter. Social Security, doesn't matter. They cannot touch that. So regardless if you're transferring those benefits to another entity, such as your trust, as long as you show your entity belongs to you, that you're connected to it. All right. So let's read. Any person who embezzles, steals, or unlawfully and willfully abstracts or converts to his own use or to the use of another any of the monies, funds, securities, premiums, credits, property, or other assets of any employee welfare benefit plan or employee pension benefit plan, or of any fund connected therewith, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both. Now, if you're in the military, you are considered an employee of the District of Columbia. So it pertains to the situation. Your funds are going to be protected. All right, so what you want to do is you're going to gather your W-9, add your trust enterprise information to it, then give it to the military and tell them to forward all of your monies directly to the trust. Of course, they're going to want to see some type of certificate of trust, and you go ahead and give them that. It's the same one that you would give a bank. It's got very minimum information on there. They don't need to know all the ins and outs of the details like your declaration page says, just enough to satisfy what they need. Melissa, you're saying that you obtained a banking EIN number when you read the book and didn't put the word enterprise on the end. Is this important? Should I redo it before opening my bank account? It's not a problem at all. Your trust enterprise can be named whatever you want. Feel free to always do a DBA, and that can be in the form of an affidavit, or you can use your county's forms, whichever you like to do. So let's say you made it to be 123 Main Street Trust, and you didn't put enterprise on there. Well, what you do is do 123 Main Street, doing business as 123 Main Street Trust Enterprise. And you bring that to the bank and you let them know which of those names you actually want to be on your card or on the checks or whatever you want. Okay. Final question. This is a good one. This is a real good one, okay? Question is, many of you are seeking, you're seeking to become a private client. And this is what my team and I are uncovering. You're seeking to become a private client and you're married, right? You are married, husband and wife, and you want one trust for both of you. Okay, you want one trust for both of you, and you're assuming that you can sign the agreement with us to do this process for you that will encompass husband and wife in one trust. We do not recommend one trust for a couple. Okay. You will never, ever, ever find any wealthy person, billionaires, millionaires, putting one trust, all of their estate assets merged with their wives or their husbands into one trust. You would never, ever see that. They know that is not smart to do. Just go and look at Jeff Bezos and his marriage. It was not all in one trust, and he did not, he shared that information. And you'll find that amongst other people. The wealthy do not have two estates in one trust. I know we love one another, make promises, but we really don't know the ins and outs of everybody's thoughts of what they're planning to do. So you have to be prepared for a rainy day. We intend to do well, but you must prepare for a rainy day. Now, we recommend husband and wife to have their own separate trust. Here's why. There are a couple of reasons, but let me just give you two. Number one, there are many levels to have an estate. You have your life estate, the bankruptcy estate, the decedent estate, and there are others. Now, husband and wife are not siblings, which means they come from different or two different lines of nobility. At some point after the completion of the express trust, each person will be able to perform a family inheritance search using nobility. And if there are grantable claims, they must go to your respective trust, which can then be gifted to a third marriage covenant trust for the benefit of both parties. And you would have husbands and wives trust as the beneficiaries of the marriage covenant trust. I hope that makes sense. Now, number two, second reason. The Foreign Express Trust, it provides a tax haven for an individual's estate using real liens such as promissory notes and a non-UCC. So the promissory note, it states that the trust is the lender and the ens legis or juristic person is completely slave to the lender as a borrower of all the monies that you will ever hold in your life estate. And it also holds a claim on the estate's income backed by your labor. When the IRS is trying to take money from you, they're stealing from your labor, which is slavery. So essentially, you are turning that over to your trust. Okay? You can only have one lender, and one trust is holding that type of lien over one person who is claiming to be the age of majority and not two persons. So promissory note is a two-party agreement. Now, if you have children, one trust can be the lien holder over several children's estates using lease agreements, which are renewed every 7 years because the child is under legal disability. So if you're married and you want us to do the dirty work in completing your file, we are only focusing on one person for one trust. If that is what you provided for us to do, we don't do groups of two persons into one trust. Okay, now we can do two separate trusts at discounted pricing with a plan for a third marriage covenant trust, but never one trust for two persons. We don't recommend that. All right. Now, what does a marriage trust entail? And this may be hard to understand in the beginning, but after a few consultations with us, I think you'll clearly see it. If you were married and you hold a marriage license, you must understand that you are engaged with the state acting as guardian over the two parties and over both of your certificates of titles. You have to know that. So a divorce, it does not nullify that engagement with the state, but instead an annulment would suffice. So we recommend entering into a marriage covenant bond first before husband and wife were to ever perform the annulment process. to remove the state out of their estate affairs and or children. Okay. When you do that, you're going to remove the state indefinitely. Now, this is going to be an easy process because husband and wife are agreeing in everything. They're not asking for spousal support. They're not asking for child support. They're not asking for anything within this process. It will be quick and easy and done because you guys have already set up a marriage covenant bond prior to doing the annulment process to remove the state out of your affairs. Just like you want to do the same thing with your passport and to correct your nationality and you want to be clean all the way through, you would have to do this for any type of license that you have. A license is an acceptance of a franchisement. And if you are accepting a license, then you are saying that you are 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you are partaking in what's called disenfranchisement. You don't have the power to vote. You wouldn't have the power to be one of the representatives of the state. Now, state is synonymous with the word country, so don't get hung up on that word of state. All right, now I mentioned the word bond when I said marriage covenant bond. The marriage trust, it will be bonded with a unique trustee and recorded with the county clerk, very similar to a marriage license with the county courthouse. And then it's recorded into the state as well as the U.S. Department of State in case the married couple decides to move out of the country and go to a foreign country. Now they will be able to provide proof of their union. I just actually completed a marriage covenant trust for husband and wife out of Oklahoma. And I'm going to share with you the structure. The structure, it goes something like this. So listen. They both had children from previous marriages who are all grown up. So we did not have to include them in the covenant. But the indenture, it read something like this. Husband, John Smith, the Bay of Hanover, and Jane Smith, the Duchess of York, came together as one in equity and as the settlers of the Golden Institute Covenant Trust between the excommunicado capiendo unincorporated association as the trustee, who is subservient to the beneficiaries known as Welfare Express Trust and Security Express Trust. Now, I'm going to go back and say that again. Husband, John Smith, that's the husband. He is the Bay of Hanover. That's his title of nobility. He chose to be a Bay, a chief in the county of Hanover. He was born in New Jersey. North Carolina. And Jane Smith, the Duchess of York, New York. They came together as one and they created a third marriage trust and they called it the Golden Institute Covenant. Now, my company, which is Excommunicado Capiendo Unincorporated Association based out of California, I can do business in any state with that. I'm acting as the trustee on their behalf. They've entered into a retainer agreement for my entity to help them with any type of possible problem that they may have. I will guide them on that. Now, both of their individual trusts, Welfare Express Trust is his, and Security Express Trust is hers. Both of those trusts are the beneficiaries to the third marriage covenant trust. You see how that structure works? That's how you set it up to be completely protected for asset protection. Now, if they had children, they would add all of their children's estates into that third marital trust. So that way the state cannot attack the children. All right. So those are the questions that came in. I hope that helps you. Now let's go ahead and go into our questions. All right. I'm going to go to Heat Miser, I see your hand up. How you doing?
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings, greetings.
Greetings, Avery. How are you this afternoon?
I am well, thank you.
Thank you for the information that you're sharing so far. Quite helpful. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Just to touch upon, you said something early in the conversation in regards to the lease agreement for a minor.
Mhm.
How do you construct that? Because you shared last week that you can add that to the UCC 3, and I have a minor that I would like to do that for my son.
Okay, good question. I have that for you guys. Need to go ahead and upload it into the system for you guys to take a look at it. But the structure goes like this. You're gonna list the name of the parties. So the first party that you should name, they're considered to be the owner and secured party of the property. The property is your child's certificate of title, okay? Let's say the owner and secured party is the name of your express trust. Your express trust. Now the lessor, the landlord, will be your estate. So you put the full name of your estate that you linked with the IRS to get an EIN number. Then the last party is going to be the lessee, the tenant, which is your child's estate. You list that name there. And what you essentially need to do is find a lease agreement that you anywhere online and tailor it to be structured that the property is not a physical domicile, it is the actual certificate of title for your child. And this is something that you want to do after you've done your process first with your trust, as far as the non-UCC recordings, and follow that up with a notice of lien in your state on the UCC1. Once you get the UCC1 file number, you'll then be able to take that number and do a UCC3 so you can reference the lease agreement that you just did. All right, so I will be posting a video on how to do that, but it wouldn't do you any good right now until you've actually done your trust registration, your non-UCC filing, and your UCC1 filing, at least those things. Then you can do this. All right. So now we're going to go to the next caller. Very good question. Going to go to Shubi Yayu. Your hand is up. What's going on?
Shalom. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Thank you.
Good to hear from you too. The question I have is with the UCC1 financing. I had it all filled out. Everything's good to go. I was waiting for my birth certificate to come back authenticated. Got that back last week. Put the annex number on it, but it still needs the declaration express trust information as far as the recording, and I haven't received that. Is that somewhere do I need to do that personally to receive it, or because I had mailed it in, all the DBAs went through. And I haven't got that so I can file this form. Do I need it to file the form?
Okay. So I'm going to tell you guys, when you look at the non-UCC template that I've provided, I have to give you guys some booby traps in case these documents get into the wrong hands. So if this is your first time filing the non-UCC in the county, then you would have to remove that part in the collateral section. Remove that. Go record it in the county, and then you're going to get back a book number, a file number, a page number, and all of that. That specific information will go on your state level UCC, and that's all you have to put on there.
Okay, got you. So it's ready to be filed then. So I just make sure that I do it without it, and then once I get that back, then I can file it in the state. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, can I ask one more question? I did a consultation with what's his name? can't remember his name right now. And it was some things that we went over, and he said he would get back to me, and I haven't heard back. So I was wondering if we can maybe set up something that I can get those questions that we were supposed to get answered.
Okay. What you can do is go ahead and type those questions out directly to me here in Patreon, and I'll see it. Just leave a note in there saying that you had mentioned that with a previous consultation. So I'll put that as priority 1 to get that answer for you.
Okay.
All right.
Shalom.
Cool. Shalom. Thank you. Going to GW. You are unmuted.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Yeah, thanks for getting my question. Hey, I got a question. Hopefully, I'm sure you can answer, but I don't know if it's the right form, but I'll ask anyway. When filing my quit claim deed, my county says that I must register the property to do it. Now, I'm asking this because I've seen and read that basically the reason that we pay taxes is because we register the property, and we really don't have to. Are they tricking me, or do I really got to register?
You're talking about a house?
Yeah.
And they're telling you cannot do a quit claim deed until you register the property?
Yep, they said that's one of the requisites of, they got rules, right? They got rules of what you do, what you got to do. So recorder of
How
deeds.
exactly did they tell you to go about registering your property?
They have a form,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked up the form, and it says, you know, owners and agents will fill out the blank form, and, you know, being the same with the deed, and that may be registered, blah, 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 blah. Then it has information, former owner, date of change, consideration, private or present owner, deed book and volume and all that.
This sounds like a standard documentary tax form. Every state has it. There's additional forms that you have to use when you provide your quitclaim deed to them. It's perfectly standard. You're going to fill out the information to tell them who's the former owner, which most likely was the previous grantor.
Yeah.
And then the new owner is going to be the grantee, which is your express trust.
Yeah.
What matters is you talk about how the property is going to be taken into the trust. So you can either choose it to be a gift, or you can say that this was a purchase. We like to say purchase in the amount of $10. $100 is the sweet spot. Anything above that, $101 is going to be taxed by the assessor. So we choose $10, and it is going to be not actual Federal Reserve notes, but lawful money in specie, which is silver dollars. Put that on there.
Okay. Good. I needed that. Thank you very, very much, Avery.
From there, you should be able to do an assessment appeal if they don't immediately take your taxes off the tax roll. And you will get a hearing date to come in and tell them that you actually used lawful money, not cash. And it is below the threshold. So therefore, the value of the property goes way down off of the market value. It's no longer being valued as a purchase of, like your neighbor. The value is now 10 Morgan silver dollars, and it cannot be assessed in taxes. That's all you have to speak inside of the appeal.
That's great.
We have a couple of those that we're working on now. So how that goes, we'll be able to present that information to give you guys the whereabouts and the ins and outs of what that process would look like.
All right. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. All right. Let's go to Melissa. You are unmuted. Just got to unmute your mic.
So sorry. Hi. Quick question about land patents. I've done a land patent, and it's been posted publicly for almost 60 days. And that was my plan, was to record it. And then now that I've been listening to all your stuff, how do you feel about that, about the land patents?
Let me ask, what was your goal with the land patent?
Well, I was following another process, and so now I don't know if it's necessary.
Did the other process yield any fruit from it?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Okay, I'm just asking because some people have said land patents are what we need to focus on. And some people say that they got fruit from it, but I haven't seen the process on what the fruit would do. All I
yeah.
know is that everything that we do, true remedy comes from the court. And a lot of processes out there avoids the court.
Mhm.
So when we do a certain process that you find in this course that's teaching how to take your property off of the tax roll in your county, it first starts off with quit claim deed and those other forms that I just mentioned with the other
Mhm.
gentleman, followed by you want to do a lis pendens. A lis pendens means a pending lawsuit that's clouding the title of your property. And so in order for you to begin doing that, you have to sue the one that is pillaging your trust, which is the county. So it'll be your trust suing the county to initiate the suit, and you're going to be asking for a discovery. You want them to prove how you should be paying money directly to them. How does the trust pay taxes, which it doesn't pay taxes. From there, that allows you to take that case number and go directly into your county recorder's office and file a lis pendens. Now, the county has to prove that your trust should pay taxes directly to them in order to remove that lis pendens. It will never happen. And that is a true form of getting your property off of the tax rolls. Land patents, to me, from what I've seen, land patents is just a worldwide notice of a name.
Mhm.
That's it. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it used to actually claim inheritance to anything.
Yeah. That's kind of how I'm feeling as I've been going through these courses. So, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome, Melissa. Good question. All right, moving right along, going to Steve. How you doing, Steve?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay, Avery?
Yes, I can. How you doing?
Very good, thanks. My question is, I'm at the stage where I'm doing we're getting ready to finish the DBAs and then do the EIN for the domestic estate. And my question is, because I'm potentially going to be looking to buy another house, and in last week's call, you said that you referenced that we surrender our Social Security number when we claim the decedent estate.
Mm-hmm.
Does that cancel our credit, our available credit that we have today? I guess I'll leave it there.
No, it does not. You can still use your credit for the Social Security number. It doesn't. Only thing that getting the estate does, it creates an entity to where it can file taxes to claim the income that was created by the labor on that Social Security number. That's all that does. Okay, so you can use your social to continue using it and going to get mortgages and auto loans if you want to. I recommend keeping that to a minimum and start to build business credit to where you can get those same things without providing a Social Security number as a personal guarantee.
Right.
But that's a work in progress.
Yeah, that's kind of that's my situation, right? It's just as I'm working through the process, I didn't want to do something that would disable my ability to have good credit now while I'm finishing it up.
Exactly. Yeah, I've learned that you can use that Social Security number in the beginning of this process to build up other accounts. Let's say you were approved a certain amount of money in personal loans using the social, and you take that money and then go ahead and use it as a secured debt to open up a secured credit card for a business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what do you do with the money that you have to pay on the social? You discharge it. You do accord and satisfaction. You get rid of it. You do all the methods that we learned here to get rid of it, and therefore you start building off of that business that you set up.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to hurt myself by doing that. And just real quick, last week you had said, you know, if that you would create a separate video addressing the quitclaim deed, and let you know in the messages. Did enough people ask you about that? Is that something that you're considering?
I'm sorry, that cut off that last part one more time.
Yeah, you were talking about creating a separate video to address the quitclaim deed and how it's assigned.
Mhm.
Did enough people ask you to potentially put that type of a video together?
No, they didn't. It's usually just a request that they hire us to do for them.
Okay.
But, you know, what I need to make a video for that to give you guys a general understanding of what that looks like, what needs to go into your paperwork.
Yeah.
Which is fairly easy. It's just how to enforce it after the fact. That's what you need to know.
Okay. All right. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, we're going to take two more, and we got to close out at 2 o'clock on time today. We're going to go to Cynthia. Cynthia Muse, just unmute your mic.
Well, greetings, Avery. How are you today? I'm so glad you could take my call.
Yes, yes.
I am a newbie.
If you don't mind, if you can turn down the background noise so I can
Oh,
hear.
yeah, absolutely. Eileen, could you turn it, put the mute on that, please? Thank you. Hurry up. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
This is what happens when you have grandchildren all over the place. Anyway, being a newbie, yeah. So I posted 3 questions in the chat. Then the first one had to do with my property is actually in bankruptcy. And I wanted to know, is it true that I had to wait to do the quit claim for the 2 years that I have left to put it in?
If you're already inside of bankruptcy, you would not be doing a quitclaim deed.
Okay.
It depends on what chapter that you're currently in.
13.
13, so that looks like a reorganization, right?
Yes.
So once that comes out of bankruptcy and you've accepted the terms of payment to pay back, then you can go ahead and do it into the trust and try to be honorable for up to 2 years making those payments. I would suggest all of those payments be made in the form of a court of satisfaction. So that way, if you were to file bankruptcy again under a different chapter, they cannot make you sell the asset.
Gotcha. So I have to look at that. Okay, I have to study the court of satisfaction. Okay, thank you for that. The second question was, could you explain, like we'd have to do the DBAs, and my brother and I, we've been contacting some of the newspapers. We got a quote for 10 grand to put our publishing in newspaper for the Tribune, I think it was. And it was for every day for a month. Is that necessary?
Well, it's usually a 3 to 4 week circulation.
Right.
But I have never, ever seen someone charge you $10,000 to do that.
That's why I needed some information.
That seems like a fraudulent transaction.
That was with the Tribune.
Well, I don't know.
If anybody has a resource that they could put it in the chat, I'd appreciate it.
What state and county are you in?
I'm sorry, I'm in Philadelphia. In Pennsylvania, yes.
Okay.
Philadelphia County.
Okay, there's more newspapers out there. You know, just call around, let them know that you want to file an affidavit. And, you know, I'm putting together version 2 of the course for you guys. So that way you'll see the new style of doing DBAs.
Yes.
This new style of doing DBAs will allow you to have it in the court record eternity. It doesn't have to be redone every 5 years like you would using their forms.
Oh, that'd be excellent. Yeah, thank you. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna look out for that. And my last question would be about the 98 numbers. I think I listened to one of the videos a while ago before I joined, And you were explaining something about the numbers after the 98. Like it should be a 6 or 7.
Right.
Could you explain that again so I can get some clarity? Because when I went back and looked at my 98, it's a 1 as the third number.
Well, I usually don't take 3 questions per person,
I'm
but
sorry.
no, that question has been coming up to me. It's been resurfacing, so I will answer.
Thank you.
You have a 6 or 7. It's called a 6 or 7 million series after the dash when you receive a 98 number.
Yes.
That indicates you truly have a foreign trust. Some people have done the trust process using the SS4 application, and they've done something wrong they didn't catch, and they'll have a 98-1,
Gotcha.
98-9. Anything besides 6 or 7, that means start over, do it again.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And I'll be looking forward to getting a consultation to show you where we're at and,
Okay.
the document review. Thank you. Thank you.
We're here. You're welcome. Right, we'll take one more, and that's going to be Miss Ronnie G. How you doing, Ronnie? Just got to unmute your mic.
Hello, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for answering. So I was asking about one, I was wondering, do you need a foreign trustee in order, like if you already have your birth certificate authenticated, because I was with another company starting that process, but didn't finish, they shut down. So I already have it authenticated. I have my 98 number. If I don't, I need a foreign trustee though. And I thought I would be a foreign trustee being from California, but I guess not. I guess I misunderstood that.
Right. So if you want to get a foreign trustee, you're definitely going to need one. You may know someone that has a passport only, no connection to any state, no connection to the United States. They can have a visiting visa. They can have a student visa, but that's it. Okay. If you don't know anyone like that, we can provide that service for you. Just you have to reach out to us and we'll get you the application. Now, if both of those options are not an option for you right now, then you can use your title of nobility name in lieu of the trustee just for right now. It's temporary. It's just temporary. So for example, if you have a trust name that you have in mind that you like, let's say it's ABC Express Trust. You don't know any foreign trustees and you can't get one with us just yet. And let's say you're from Louisiana. I'm just giving an example. A lot of the Louisianians, they usually go by the terms Baylor Bays out there. So let's say Baylor Bay is going to be your title of nobility name. I want you to choose James Smith, Baylor Bay of New Orleans as your name for the foreign trustee. That's what you would give the IRS over the phone.
Gotcha.
Now you'll get your 98 number because you also gave a foreign country as an address or place of establishment for your 98 number. And they will give you your information via the mail. They'll also tell you the number over the phone, so you make sure you write it down just in case they're taking forever to mail you something. All right, and once you get that number, you move forward and you do what's called a correspondence letter. I've given that to you in the Word documents in the freshman class, and you'll send that over to the IRS immediately. That letter is going to say that you are under no circumstance that you have to file taxes or a 1041 form. Now, it may take some time to get the correspondence back from them, but eventually you will get it. If you haven't received anything within 60 days, then I want you to send out another one. And you do this every 2 months until you get something.
Okay. And now I guess I have to do it again because I've done that already. I actually sent my letter yesterday. But I didn't give them my title of nobility name. So I guess I did that wrong.
Yeah, there's a way to fix it, but it's a weird process. I don't want to confuse you, so I would suggest starting over.
Okay, alrighty, I can do that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Great questions today. I'm sorry I have to cut class short today. That's all of the hands that I can take. This was recorded. I'm going to go ahead and post this in there and share the links that was shown today as well. And we'll talk again next Saturday. See you guys later.